Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. So today I am back to recap episode 1 and 2 of Teen Mom Young and Pregnant. I can't believe it's back for another season. If you did not catch my recaps from last season, I am going to list them down below so you can go ahead and check them out if you're interested. And if you did check them out, I just want to say that I do apologize for that I just stopped uploading recaps for y'all. Number one, I had to take a break from YouTube. It was partially wanted and partially not wanted, so I was unable to upload. But one thing I will say is last season was really good, obviously, because they're back for another season in less than a year. I think it ended in like July maybe, so it's been less than even 6 months. That's how good the season was. This time I'm going to be recapping a little bit differently. Tell me if you like it this way or you want me to do it back the other way. So I'm just going to talk about each mom individually. I'm not gonna go ahead and say like what happened from scene to scene to scene of the episode, but if you want me to go back to that, just let me know. So we are going to be starting off with Ashley. Holly is now 6 months old, and Ashley basically recaps what happened on the last episode of last season. Basically her having that surprise party for Bar, but Bar's mom Shen showing up and everything turning into a complete mess. So she's talking about that, and she said that she really hasn't talked to Bar about it and she's not ready to talk to Bar about the whole situation. Later on in the episode, we go and see that she has a conversation with her sister. They talk about the fight, and one thing I will say is Ashley's sister just seems like she's ready for everything to go back to normal between her and Bar. Like this isn't something that should have happened in the first place. One thing her sister did say is that she felt like Shen should have called about coming to the party, and I really don't feel like it would have made a difference. I feel like the same thing would have happened. In my honest opinion, I don't really think Shen should have showed up, because her showing up literally just led to what it was. Her son was unable to have a party, there were fights, and all of that just went to waste. So I just wouldn't have showed up. But being the people that they are, of course she showed up to this party. Eventually later on in the episode, Bar does come over to talk about the whole situation. And the one thing I will say is I like the fact that Bar can admit his faults. A lot of people cannot recognize when they're wrong. Bar, obviously Ashley is upset about Bar trying to fight her sister. Obviously he's a guy, she's a woman. That should not ever happen. So Bar knows that he's wrong, and he said that he needs to get control of his anger. But all in his defense, all he went through was so many people calling him that night, telling him about the situation, about Ashley's sister trying to fight his mom, and that's his mom, and all he did was to see red and he was ready to attack. But he knew that he was wrong and needed to get it under control. My thing is, you know, it's a soft spot. I don't know about y'all, but you can't play with my mom. Obviously he's wrong, because a man should never put his hands on a woman ever. But I don't want to say but, because now it seems like I'm justifying it, but I understand where he's coming from as well. Like, you know, his mom probably called him and sized the whole situation and made it seem like it was just her against all these people. Like, the whole situation is just really tacky in my opinion. Eventually, later on in the episode, Ashley, her sister, and Bar go out. And Holly go out for like a little lunch or whatever, because Ashley really wants them to sit down and talk. Bar and her sister play pool, and without even saying I'm sorry to one another, they have this general understanding, and they basically like mutually apologize. Ashley's sister apologizes for attacking his mother, and she understands where he's coming from, because that is his mom, and he apologizes for attacking her because he shouldn't do it. And that was the end of Ashley's scene. Next, we go back to Jade, and she and baby Chloe, who is now 7 months old, are living alone. She said that she tried to make everything work between her and Sean. As we saw in the reunion, they said they were kind of working on things, but since then things just have not been good. She caught Sean on a dating website, and after that she was just absolutely done with him and his mess. She also lets us know that Sean has not seen Chloe since, I guess, the whole cheating fiasco, and obviously that's not right. He should be a part of his child's life. Eventually we meet up with Sean, and he is hanging out with his friend, and I really like his friend. One thing I will say is I really like the friends in this show, because they really tell these girls how it is. They are these people that are part of the show. They tell them how it is. Nobody sugarcoats anything. So his friend tells him, He explains to his friend how things are not working between him and Jade and they're no longer a family, but he wants to get back to that point. And his friend, you know, he explains to his friend how he's been doing dumb and stupid stuff, and also about the dating website and how there's like no trust in their relationship. And his friend was like, you need to do everything you can to win Jade back and to build that trust. And he's like, I don't know how to do it, or I don't know how I'm gonna do it because I've just messed up completely. And his friend was like, you just have to do everything possible. And it was really nice to see his friend give that type of advice, because if you really want to make your family work, or you really want to get this back together, you're gonna have to do everything you can to win your girl back, Sean. Eventually, Sean comes over to watch Chloe because Jade wants to go out and get a makeover. She believes that's just gonna help her refresh herself since now she is newly single. So we see Jade go to the salon and she decides to get this, like, I don't know what kind of color it is. I don't want to just say purple. It's like a purplish grayish color. I really like it. I think I've seen Kale from Teen Mom 2 also have that color, so it looks really good on her. Eventually she comes back home and Sean says that he wants to hang out with her. You see he's trying to make an effort, and she's just like, you know, I really just want to be alone. She like shuts that down immediately, like, Sean, I'm not playing with you, I just want to be alone. So she leaves him and Chloe in the living room for some time and then goes to her room. She sees that there's clothes all over her bed, so she's like, Sean, what happened? Why are there so much clothes on my bed? What happened? Then at a certain point he's like, okay, I'm about to get ready to go because I'm not doing this. And he's walking out the door and she asks him like, where are all her bottles? And he's like, I don't know, I've been using one bottle. So then she starts listing out all the things that she sees wrong with her apartment, and he's like, you don't even give me a second to speak. Like, you're just attacking me and I'm trying to talk to you. And I could definitely see where that can be annoying, because nothing's worse than when you're trying to talk or trying to explain yourself and somebody's constantly cutting you off to ask you another question. So eventually Sean leaves and he does not even say bye to Chloe. Like, he's just like, you know what, F it. Then we head over to Kayla. Kayla lets us know that her and Stefan have not been together, and we just thank the Lord for that. And that Isaiah is now 6 months old. So we see them, I don't know if they're at an appointment or what, but they're not in her home or anything. We see them talking about Isaiah wearing a helmet and how everything has been corrected. They just have like one more appointment, I think, to get him out of the helmet, if I'm not mistaken. And he's just like, I know, like making it know like he knows everything about his son. So he says. So then Kayla also talks about how it's been 4 months since the situation with the card went down and that Stefan has yet to apologize. She really wants him to get to the point where he does apologizes. And what irritates me about this is, like, sometimes I feel like Kayla doesn't really take her mother's side. Like, I feel like she'll say, oh, it's my mom. But at the end of the day, I don't really feel like she's fully taking her mother's side, because in my opinion, it seems like she wants Stefan to apologize because she wants to co-parent with him, like, in the house. But her mom doesn't want him in the house because he's disrespectful. So she's like, I want you to apologize because I want some sleep. Girl, I'm sorry you're tired, but he's tired. He needs to go. Like, I really don't care for his attitude, and I really don't like the fact that she semi-backs him up. And basically, after she says that, Stefan's just like, I don't know. Like, you can tell he just really, he sees no fault in what he's done, so he doesn't really care to apologize to Kayla's mom. Eventually, we see Stefan play basketball with his friend, and his friend's just asking like, how's everything between him, Kayla, and Isaiah? And he's just like, everything's fine, but she really wants me to apologize to his mom. Okay, I take back what I said about the friends on this show, because his friend was just, you could tell he was just saying anything to Stefan, because Stefan is wrong. There's no way anybody's gonna sit here and tell this man that he's right within this situation. But his friend was just like, okay, I can understand you not wanting to apologize. Stefan is still on the fence about apologizing, and I'm just like, ugh. Next scene, please. Eventually, later on in the episode, Stefan does eventually come over to talk to Kayla's mom, and this is basically what he says. He says, I don't want you to feel uncomfortable. And I'm like, no, she's not gonna feel uncomfortable in her house. I need you to understand that. Like, you did this. Like, she's not uncomfortable. She just doesn't want you around because you're a butt. But he was like, I just don't want you to feel uncomfortable we got to make this work. So he backhandedly says that he apologizes in a sense. I don't even think he said he's sorry. And Kayla's mom accepts the apology. And you can tell she's just doing this for her daughter because she knows her daughter has been talking about wanting to sleep more. You can tell she's strictly done this for her daughter because there's no other reason why anybody would have accepted that apology. Next person we're going to talk about is Brianna. So Brayson is now 8 months old and she and Robert have been together for 5 months. I didn't realize how fast Robert came into the picture. I didn't know he was been around Brayson since he was like 3 months old. That's kind of crazy. But anyways, so basically Brayson is now going to be seeing a specialist for his arm. So she also is going to start meeting with this social worker for a group. I'm not sure if she said the group name or not, but it's a group basically of moms, if I'm not mistaken, with children with disabilities. So she's going to start meeting with the social worker, and the social worker comes over just to see how Brayson is doing developmentally. So obviously he's a little bit behind because of his arm, but the social worker says with the group and all of the therapy and everything that he should be right on schedule. And Brianna does have it set up for him to do it while they're there in Wisconsin, and then when they move to Oregon as well. It also lets us know that she is really excited for the move to Oregon. And she also has a conversation with Robert, just asking him how he feels about it. And he lets her know like he's having second thoughts, which makes her feel uncomfortable. But at the end of the day, you have to understand that this is the weirdest situation in the world. First and foremost, y'all have been dating for 5 months. Let's count that together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months. And you're asking him to move not a state over, not 3 hours away. You're asking him to move from Wisconsin to Oregon. That's a huge, huge, huge like thing. I mean, I'm a pretty free-spirited person. Even prior to having a daughter, I would do a lot of things, just get up and go. But that is a huge commitment. You know, if it were me, I'd probably be like, okay, how about for the first 6 months to a year, you come and visit here and there and decide if that's what you want, and then we can get up and go. But she asked him, he said yes. I don't know if he meant it, if he took it back in between the time. He said yes, and then now she's like upset that he's having second thoughts, especially after she talks to him about her family and says that her grandfather is probably going to be really harsh on him because he's always harsh like to the significant others. He was harsh to Danae, and I was just like, I mean, you just told the guy that the person y'all are going to be around the most is not going to like him. And he's not gonna have any family around. So that's, I mean, it's just weird to me. This whole situation is weird. And lastly, we get back to Lexi. Her and Kyler are officially back together, which I'm pretty sure they've been back together since the last season. Pretty much, you know, obviously since the last season, Kyler has been talking about moving to Arizona right after he is done with school. And she's really hesitant. She doesn't want to do it. She believes that they do need to have that support system, her family, his family. And I do definitely agree with that, because not having the support system close to you is really, really rough. You know, things like, oh, I need an hour to do this or that. I'm gonna drop the baby off, or I'm gonna see if somebody can watch the baby. And not having that can be really, really rough. And in my opinion, it's just like, Kyler, y'all are what, 17, 18 years old? Why not try, like Lexi said, why not try and get an apartment in your town where the three of y'all are living together, not in any parent household. Do that together for a year or so, and then get up and go. Like, it just seems like he wants to isolate her from her family. And it's just like, obviously you can tell Lexi and Kyler have two different type of upbringing. Like, their families are different and everything like that. He wants to go live his life and be a family, which there's nothing wrong with wanting to be a family. But you also have to understand, again, she's 17, 18 years old. You cannot speed that up. Y'all have nothing but time. It's not like you're 46 and trying to like rush. You all are young, you have time. So I agree with Lexi, and he's just not having it. He just doesn't get it, and he's ready to go. So at the end of the episode, we basically see Lexi having a conversation with one of her friends, who I believe she met from a play group, and her friend is from California, if I'm not mistaken, and they're in Montana. And the friend basically says that it's really hard to not be around family or to have that support system. So she doesn't tell Lexi not to do it, but she's recommended that, you know, that she don't do it, because when her friend had her baby and she moved away, it was rough. She wanted her mom, she wanted her family. So yeah. Anyway, so that is the end of episode 1. Let's just hop right into episode 2. So episode 2 starts off with Ashley again, and this week we learned that, and in this episode we learned that Bar's brother is on trial. So I have been like reading and seeing different like social media posts in between the season and everything, so I already knew this. Bar's brother is currently on trial for murder, which is crazy. I know how chaotic that can be for a family. So Ashley explains that as well, and then she also tells us that Shen is in town and that Ashley has taken a restraining order out on Shen. And I'm just, I'll get to it how I feel about this whole thing. Basically, she said that Shen has been doing the most on social media. So like I said, I've been kind of seeing things here and there. In my opinion, I believe both Shen and Ashley, even Ashley's mom, post a lot of unnecessary things on social media. Like, do y'all not have each other's phone number? Like, and then y'all know that you have all these people that watch y'all, and it just instigates, and I just couldn't be Bar, in my honest opinion. I couldn't be any of them in this situation, because this whole situation is just really toxic. I think even 2 days ago there was even stuff still even said on social media. So I don't really feel like it's just Shen. I feel like Shen does her mess, don't get me wrong, but Ashley does her mess as well. So Ashley does have court for the restraining order, and I'm not saying, like, obviously I know Ashley didn't go and schedule this court date. You don't schedule, at least as far as I'm concerned, you don't go and schedule court dates. But this woman's son is on trial. Is it really necessary to go to court? Maybe I'm reaching. Y'all let me know down below how you feel about that. And in my opinion as well, Shen lives in Las Vegas, Nevada, and Ashley lives in some part of California, which I don't think it's really close together. Y'all obviously don't see each other like that. So what is the reason for a restraining order? Like, am I the only one that's not understanding it? To me, it's just like, if you don't want to see Shen, that's fine. Even in the first season, what was it, like 3 times that we saw Ashley and Shen in the same area? 1 being her baby shower, 2 being Bar's party, and then the other time was when they went to Las Vegas to party and they dropped Holly off. So I really don't see the purpose of it at the moment. It's not like Shen lives next door, constantly knocking at your door. I don't know, maybe I'm reaching. Y'all let me know down below. And she lets us know that Bar is gonna come with her to the, I don't want to call it a trial, but to the court. Her family's meeting her there and everything. So her and Bar get into a little argument, which turns into a big argument by the time Ashley's sister gets in the car. And basically, when they get to the courthouse, Bar asks for the keys and he's just like, you know what, I'm going home. In my opinion, if I were Bar, I wouldn't have gone in the first place, because where do you sit in this situation? You get what I'm saying? And again, from what I've seen on TV, I feel like both of these women play equal parts in the reason why this is not working out. And I would be absolutely crazy at this point if I were him and I had to deal with both sides of this. Like, why are we in court? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is... Somebody let me know what it is, but I cannot say that I blame Bar for leaving. I wouldn't have even agreed to go in the first place, to be honest. After that, we see that the court case was dissolved because Ashley didn't have enough evidence. Again, right, what I was saying, what is this going off of social media posts? I mean, I can understand if she went to sue Shen for defamation of character, you definitely have a case, but I'm not understanding what the restraining order is for. So we see Ashley leave. She calls her sister to tell her what's going on because the sister had to leave for work, and Ashley's a little bit upset as she's driving home, as she should be. I don't know if she's upset because she didn't get this piece of paper, or if she's upset because she looks a fool. I don't know. And that was the end of Ashley's scene. Back with Brianna, she goes out to eat with Robert and her mom, and they talk about this move, and her mom is having a hard time finding a place and a job. So I am confused. When her mom presented this move, obviously she didn't say too much, but usually when people are getting up and moving, you at least have somewhere to live. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you're asking your teenage daughter and your infant grandson to come with you. So I'm not understanding. Like, I at least thought that she would at least move in with her folks, because that is the reason why she wants to go down to Oregon, to be close to family. So I at least assumed like they would be bunking with people before they got their place. But it sounds like this is just like, are y'all running away from something? That's what I'm trying to understand, because it just seems like they're getting up and going and there's actually no plan. And then you also have, again, I don't know if Robert's legal, or he has to obviously be legal to leave, but you're also taking somebody else's child and y'all don't have anywhere to go. What? Like, what happened? Like, did she lose her job and it's just even more of a reason to go? And then another thing is, why isn't your family opening the door for you? I don't know. Maybe we'll understand a little bit more this episode coming up. But I just thought this was when I heard this, I'm like, okay. Eventually we see that Robert's family comes and helps Brianna's family pack up the houses, which is really nice. And then at the end of this scene, we see them hugging each other and saying goodbye. And Brianna, Robert, Vanessa's boyfriend, Brayson, and Brianna's mom head down the road, and they go and they start to cry. And I'm like, are you crying because there's nowhere to go? Or like, I'm not trying to be mean. I really try to keep an open mind to certain things, but I'm not understanding this move so much yet. Next, we go to Jade, and she basically said that she has blocked Sean on everything ever since the last time he was there when they had their little issues. And basically Sean has still found a way to harass her. And I'm like, how old are you, sir, that you are doing all of this? This is annoying. So apparently Sean's like getting on different text apps and I guess making different social media accounts to contact Jade. Now, I understand Jade's reasoning for blocking Sean, but at the end of the day, that is your daughter's father. Y'all are gonna have to make it work one way or another. Eventually in the episode, we see Sean go driving somewhere, and he calls his sister basically just to tell her everything that's going on. Says that he hasn't talked to Jade, she's blocked him on everything, and he hasn't seen Chloe in a week. And his sister's just like, are you serious? You can tell at first she's like, not team Jade. And then eventually he tells her what he's doing, and I'm glad he does that. He's not one of those people that only makes himself look good, but he explains to his sister what he's been doing to Jade, and she's just like, okay, come on, Sean, you know better. You were not raised like that. Grow up. And she tells him about himself, and I'm like, yes, sister, yes, because I believe Sean's like 4 years older than Jade. I think, I'm not too sure. I know he's older than her, and she's 21. We are not children at this point, and you have a child. Are you really gonna sit here and call the mother of your child all types of nasty names? Like, I really can't see that. I understand people have their falling outs, people have their issues, but that is the mother of your child. She is raising your child. She brought your child into this world, and you're harassing her. Like, come on now, because you want to be immature. You can tell obviously Jade has her faults, and I'm not just team Jade here. She obviously has her faults, and they cannot work together. But you can see that Sean brings the pettiness into the relationship, and it's just like, get it together. If you can't get it together for yourself or for Jade, get it together for Chloe. He expresses to his sister that he does want to go back to therapy because he did feel like it worked, and I'm just like, that's a good idea. I do think you need to go and figure out what's going on, and I think eventually maybe both of them need to come together for either therapy or mediation so something can work for their child. Later on in the episode, we see Jade's friend comes over, and you can tell Jade's just having a bad day. Her daughter is just been fussy, not sleeping, and I can, oof. As a stay-at-home mom, I know how that feels. Like, I know when my daughter doesn't sleep or she's like really fussy in the day, how that can be stressful throughout the whole day for you and your child. So eventually you see her get frustrated a little bit and put Chloe in her room to cry it out. And I know I've seen like mixed feelings about that. People saying, oh, she yelled at her child, oh, she da-da-da this, da-da-da-da. But until you've missed out on hours of sleep and trying to work things out, maybe the best thing to do is to walk away from your child. So I understand where she's coming from that. She also talks to her friend about Sean. Eventually she talks to her grandma on the phone about Sean. Obviously her grandma invites her to the barbecue, and then at the barbecue they talk about Sean. And Jade's aunt is, Jade's whole family is there, but in this conversation Jade's step grandfather is there, Jade's mom, and then Jade's aunt. And Jade's mom is just basically telling her like, you're probably gonna go back to Sean, so why are we having this conversation? And Jade is just annoyed with her mom. You know how her and her mom's relationship is. They get annoyed, and Jade's mom's just like yelling at her mother like, tell her mom, tell her, and nobody is telling Jade anything. At the end of the day, even if she goes back to him, you have to understand where she's coming from. This is somebody she's been in a relationship with, or at least had a friendship with in the beginning. I think that's what she said. And now they have a child together. So it's not like I'm just gonna walk away from him. She can't walk away from him. So it's not as easy. Next is Lexi. She tells us that she's been having some issues with her car and it's time to go ahead and get a new car. Her and her mom go car shopping, and her mom says that she has no problem co-signing, but if Lexi falls behind on these payments, she has no problem at all taking away the car. Now, I've seen some mixed feelings about this, and this is what I want to say. Number one, there is nothing wrong with a parent co-signing for a car. I just don't understand why people were so mad about the situation. There's nothing wrong with it. Obviously, somebody not in Lexi's situation, I don't know her family finances or anything like that, but let me just speak from like regular teenagers. Obviously, people don't go financing cars for their kids. They usually go and find something like where you buy here, pay here, or just pay it all at once. Or if it is something that you finance, it's like $5,000 or less, just for the simple fact. But you have to understand that Lexi is now on a show. This is not like the first season where you don't even know if they're gonna pick up the show. They're on a second season. At this point, Lexi doesn't have to work. I know people are like, oh, what job is Lexi gonna have? Let's be perfectly real. Out of all 3 Teen Mom shows, which one of them work? I'll wait, none of them. And now obviously they're on the second season. Probably by the end of this season, Lexi's gonna have that car paid off. So I really wasn't understanding what people's issue about this whole car thing was, because she has MTV money, and from the looks of it, if nothing goes wrong, they're gonna keep coming back. I'm pretty sure they're gonna keep coming back, and we're gonna follow these girls all the way until their kids are like 10. So I'm not really sure why people were like saying things like that. Lexi also says she agrees with her mom and she is gonna go out looking for a job. I'm like, okay, girl. So we eventually see her go out and look for different part-time jobs, which is cool to see. Another thing, I'm kind of sidetracking here, it's just like you see these girls go into work, but then eventually as the seasons go on, they no longer work. Obviously, I don't want to say they don't no longer work. They invest, they have different businesses. So they do work, but I mean like go to a part-time job type thing, which I'm not saying anything is wrong with that, but it's just crazy how we always see the same process happen, and then eventually like, what's the point? What's the point? So then later on, she hangs out with Kyler. They talk about the car. She's really excited, and he's just like, she tells him that she's excited to get this car because she needed something safe for Tobias and her. And he's just like, I don't understand why you didn't go and get a cheaper car. Why you had to go get I think it was like $20,000 or $30,000. So Kyle's just like, I don't understand why you didn't just go get a car. And he basically sees it as like Lexi's really dependent on her mom. And again, she's 17 years old, Kyler. This is not a 27-year-old. This is not Step Brothers where they can't get it together. She's still young. And she seems to have her head on straight, but Kyler's just not understanding it. Eventually, we see Kyler go hang out with his mom and Tobias while Lexi is out applying for different jobs. And he's just like, he wants to move, and he doesn't want Lexi's mom to be anywhere near them. And he doesn't like the fact that Lexi's this and Lexi's that. And his mom is like kind of laughing and agreeing with him. Here's my thing. You can clearly tell that Lexi and Kyler have different upbringings, and you can tell that Lexi's more on the, I don't want to say spoiled, well, I guess you can say like more on the spoiled side, and Kyler seems like he didn't get any of that, so he doesn't understand the relationship. But my question is, why does Kyler dislike Lexi's mom so much? Like, he doesn't want to be around her presence. Like, what is it? I'm not understanding. Lastly, we are with Kayla, and she says that things have been better since Stefan did apologize. And I'm like, was that really an apology? Girl, bye. But then she also tells us that things are getting a little tight because the money she saved before they had the baby is starting to run out, and that they both need to go and get jobs. And he just seems like he does not want to work at all. And it's just like, Stefan, if the baby's now, I think what the baby's like 8 months old or something, 6 months old, what have you been doing that you have not been working? Like, what have you been doing that you have not been working this whole time? Like, it's somebody, like, I don't understand. To me, the minute I hear, oh, I'm gonna be a father or I'm gonna be a mother, I'm going to look for a job, and I'm gonna keep a job, because you don't want to be in these situations where money does run out and you don't have money for diapers, wipes, formula, all the essentials. So I'm not understanding why she even has to say this. And he's just like, well, I know, you know, but what you doing? Like, and they talk about different jobs and everything, and she's saying like she doesn't want to work fast food, and he's not saying much because he doesn't want to work. So eventually it is time for Isaiah's helmet appointment, the same appointment they were talking about last episode, and he said that he knew. Kayla cannot get a hold of him, and she speculates, she never explains if she knows for sure, but she speculates that he is with a girl and he's not answering. So she does ask her friend to come to the appointment with her, and as they're driving down the road, Stefan calls from an unknown number, and Stefan is on the phone pissed because Kayla left to go to her baby's appointment. What are you pissed about? In that type of situation, Stefan, if you are with a girl, if you are being immature and doing whatever you're doing, get an Uber and meet her at the appointment. Why he's yelling like, oh, you left, I hate you, you're a B, yada yada. No, you knew when your son's appointment was. What are you doing? What are you doing that you couldn't do before and be ready to go during, and then come back and do it after? Like, I don't understand his mindset, and he tries to blame her all the time. No, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. And I feel like yelling at her, like, are there no Ubers? Do you not have friends that have caught, like, can you not catch the bus and meet her? What is the issue? Like, I just feel like it was no effort. Because he left her, or because she left him, he's mad. And I'm just like, Kayla, you're a good one, because I could not deal with Stefan. Actually, later on in the episode, Kayla said that she has actually blocked Stefan on everything, but he randomly showed up to her house again, and he tells her he feels like the only way that he can get her off of his back is if they're together. And I'm just like, you are such a butthole. He basically tells her to stop blocking her, and stop blocking him, and I'm just like, she wouldn't have to block you if you weren't so disrespectful. Why do you always have to lead to calling me the B word? Like, I just feel like some of these guys have no respect for the women. But anyways, I do apologize for this episode being so late. I will promise y'all that it won't be every Monday that I recap. It'll be sometime during the week. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up and leave your opinion down below of these 2 episodes. I'll see y'all in the next video. Bye.